But, all right, today, guys, today we have an amazing guest who will do an amazing things. How you doing, Kyle? Can you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me. Again, my name is Kyle. I'm a co-founder of Readmore. We started the company in 2015. It's a forward-thinking, passionate company that creates educational courses that specialize in personal development, and that's our main focus. So we read different types of books. Of course, we read all the classics as far as Think and Grow Rich. Definitely need to read that one if you've read that. But yeah, that's what our main focus is that. And then we started in Colorado, and we've created some educational courses that have been working in schools to get them implemented. We've already been working with a few, and we just been taking off from there. We do fashion, clothing, and we just the big focus is just to get people out there reading, growing, and becoming their best self at the end of the day.
All right, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. You know what? You inspire me, man. You're so young, but you're doing incredible things. My take on it is, since you're also doing it for school too, right? I have a passion of mine. I want to impact the special education and to change the way that the law of attraction thinking. I think that too many people don't take enough action when the people who are into the law of attraction. Now, what got you into reading? Because I know that I saw you a lot of posts and it's beautiful. Like, uh, how did you like get onto all these personal development? What happened at your what happened, man? Because many young people they don't like to read.
Okay, yeah. So the biggest focus, I think if you've, of course, if you're thinking Grow Rich, he talks about a mastermind group. And way before I even knew what a mastermind group was or even the importance of reading, I had a couple friends. One who now is creating businesses. He's making six figures and all types of that. So he was the one that kind of was like the first person in our group that was talking about reading. He's like, yo, y'all got to read. You got to grow. And I just got out of high school. And this is way before. This is like before I started Readmore. So I had just finished high school and I was just reading the whatever books they have you reading in high school. None of the books that you're like talking about when you talk about law of attraction. None of those that like are pushing you forward. But he gave me Think and Grow Rich, and I always come back to that book because that was one of the first books that made me actually start reading more. And I knocked that book out, and I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy!" I started practicing it, and I think that's the biggest thing with Readmore too is that idea of it's cool to read, but you also need to implement what you're reading. So when I read that, I started practicing some of the tools, and things were changing in my life. I actually kind of was like, oh, this is cool. Like you're saying, the law of attraction, or just like speaking things into existence. And it all comes down to actually working for it. Well, not like working for it, but like actually putting in the effort, like taking action. Because you can think about it, you can have positive thinking all you want, but when you put action to it, it's a big thing. And another thing was crazy. I used to actually get laughed at when I was a kid. I was really bad at reading. I remember we were reading Anne Frank one time, and this is like I was probably in 6th or 7th grade. And I just remember I had to read one of the main characters, Otto Frank's character, and I was stuttering on every single word, couldn't read it. And I just remember the kids laughing at me. I think even the teacher made me to even crack the quick joke. And when I got home, I told my parents the situation. I was like, they were laughing at me. And they said, the thing about reading is like it's just like success. The more you read, the more you put in consistency, the more you'll get better at it. So I just started picking up. I didn't really read as much then. I just would like every time I seen words, I'd read them out loud, get more confident. And from there, Readmore is slowly starting to become a thing before I even knew it.
That is so powerful. Like you said, yeah, speaking to existence. Yeah, I mean, I'm really into the law of attraction. It's just that I see people I get pissed off sometimes because when people get when people you can see it when people have a lot higher level what was it intelligence or no awareness, then they don't get much as pissed. But when you're at that stage of level of law of attraction, they get pissed if you get bashed on. I used to be like that. I used to get pissed when people talk about the law of attraction and they bash on it, but now I'm not so. And as for you, you're just like me, dude. Like I remember there was this kid. It was back in high school. He would make fun of me because I couldn't spell the word mental from metal. I was like, bro, because basically I was born in America, right? But I was bilingual. So my mom doesn't speak English, so I have to speak Vietnamese to her. And for you, how do you invest in yourself constantly, or what do you do?
Oh, of course, yeah, that goes without. I mean, if you're going to be growing, you always got to be reinvesting in yourself, whether it be finding people that are like-minded, going through people's courses. Like you have to invest in courses. I think whether it be books can be a good way. Of course, that's the main focus. But actually going through courses, I see you got the Grant Cardone playbook in the background, and that's the type of stuff we're talking about. You have to go through it. So we actually created a Stay Fresh course we did with 13 and 19-year-olds, but now we've adapted it and we've made it more of a personal development course online, which is our Get Fresh program. So you'll see it around, you've probably seen ads. But that's our main thing too. So it's like the main principles we teach in that is the idea of the study behind it is mind, body, soul, and heart. Like actually how are you training those four elements each and every day. If you can do that, you'll sustain long-term happiness. That's our main thing. So you always are putting back into your goals and all that.
For you, do you have sometimes, do you get like bashed on when people say they don't read books or anything? What do you think about like those type of people? Because basically I know that Gary Vee don't read books. He always talk about he doesn't read books. But the thing is, Gary Vee, even though he doesn't read books, he is more like a observer and he learned by osmosis when he interviewed famous people and all that. What do you think about that?
I think maybe back in the day I would have cared more, but now at the end of the day, you got to realize who your target market is. If people say they don't read, there may not be my target market at that moment, you know? That doesn't mean they're not going to be my target market in the future, but they're not going to be my target market when I'm like, yo, you need to read this book. But if they're around me, if they hear me talk and they hear me speak and they see that I'm always, if you come to my house, you see books, you know what I mean? If you're around my friends, we're talking about, you know, books that we've read or courses that we've taken. So if you're around me and if you've met me, you're gonna eventually pick up something. It may just be picking up your craft harder. You may be a author, or let's say maybe even a film. You want to get into film and do directing and all that. You're around us. We talk about that all the time. You're gonna start writing your first film. So I don't know if I care as much if people say they don't read, because I think as in the long term, I think they'll push towards that, reading more.
What inspired you to do this? Like what you do is incredible.
What inspired me? I think education, the education system, the failing of it was one of the biggest things. I feel that we aren't taught what we're supposed to in school. I think school can be detrimental in the long term if you're not proactive. If you're just going through school, going through the motions, you can get a good degree and feel like you have no idea where you want to go. And that's the biggest thing we want to do at Readmore. We want to get people growing themselves, learning. Because I forget who it was, Jim Rome. I think he said a modern education will make you a living, but he said self-education will make you a fortune. So that's like the main focus. If you continue to grow yourself, continue to learn, and have consistency, that's the biggest thing. You don't have to be this person that reads 30, 40 books a day. I was even like our followers, they read 175 books a year. That's insane. Like I may not read 75 books, that many books in a year, but I do go through courses and I go through reading books and I study books. I'll reread multiple books over and over again. Like I probably, like, to go back to Think and Grow Rich, I probably read that 3 or 4 times. Like I read it a couple times every year. It's like one of them books, we call them like Bible books, the books you always go back to because they're so powerful. So I think that's what it is for the most part, man.
I do agree with that. That's why I think that Patrick David trying to push the hardcore for the educational system has failed us. I believe that's I have reconnected with my friends, and they all say the same thing. They feel like they're lost, and some people would think that by you're 20 you should figure everything out. I was lost when I was 19, 20. I want everything because back then I had a really bad breakup with my ex, so I was going through that time, and that's where I found out I have attracted to myself with the spiritual awakening, law of attraction, stuff like that. But this educational system didn't teach us about money or the relationship skills or the skill set in general to help us to prepare us for the real world, and I think that's the problem.
Yep. And I heard you talk about Bet Davis. He's a really cool guy. We actually did an interview with him not too long ago. Y'all can definitely check it out too. He's really, really down to earth person for sure. But you're right. The education system has failed us, man. And it's not that it's failed us because it was so long ago when it was created. You're talking about 1800s. They're talking about people that are more plug and play type of people. They want you to go through. They want you to have enough education where you can come work for us or move with us. But as we've gotten smarter and as the internet has like created people, like we have influencers that you've never met with 1 million followers, and they have the ability to create whatever they want. You have 1 million followers, you can create anything you want. You can create any movement you want. So now you get into the opportunity where people are becoming the assets instead of being other people's assets. And that's the game changer now. Like you're your own asset, I'm my own asset. And if we just allow, and people that are listening to this, they're their own assets, they're their own brands. And if they can just get more confidence in themselves, that's why reading is so important. If you can just gain that confidence. A lot of people when they do business, they say just start. Like a lot of business people just, if you're looking at entrepreneurs, they're like, what do you need to do? And they're just like, just start. And it's so easy to tell people just start. And even I've even told people just start. But what really makes people start is that confidence. So whatever you need to do to get you confidence, whether hire a mentor or read books, those are the things that can give you that just enough confidence to finally just push over and start, you know?
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. What you really do have like I would say a business mindset. Where did it start? Like where like really like you have this business mindset.
So I work with two other people. I have my brother. He's older than me, but he's another co-founder of Readmore, and I have another co-founder named Caesar. He works with us as well. And I think the biggest place I got business, understanding is I have a friend, like I said, who's been a mentor to me when it comes to business. And you got to study the greats, bro. I studied Jeff Bezos, Phil Knight from Nike, Steve Jobs, Robert Smith from Vistaprint, all these people, like a countless amount of people. Sarah Blakely, the one that started Spanx. You have to study people, and the problem is there's this personal development in the entrepreneur world is so flooded with people that are showing, oh, I got $60. I made 600 grand in 2 minutes and all these crazy stats. But you have to go find the people that have had long-term success. You have to find the people that have had sustained business etiquette. Oh, and the biggest one is Warren Buffett. I love Warren Buffett stuff as well. I love what he does. So just follow those people.
Yeah, I do love Warren Buffett. Some people hate Warren Buffett, but I love him. I think that too many people have like this wrong, because they get into like this. Some because they listen to spiritual stuff and they would like hate on Jeff Bezos and they would hate on Warren Buffett because I don't care. Warren Buffett and Jeff Bezos, they're like, I mean, Amazon. Like, see, oh yeah, the other day, right? I don't know if you know. Have you a game called Yu-Gi-Oh? Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
Of course, yeah, of course.
I got I got really pissed at Amazon because it's using a psychological sales tactic on me, and I hate it when someone uses it on me because if I know it, I know it. So basically, Amazon was using scarcity on me, right? So I had a product of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I was just saving on the later what it saved later, but it's smart though. It's smart though. I know Amazon's smart, so I saved it, and it said after for a while it said unavailable. But the couple of weeks, it says it's available. Dang, man. Amazon is so smart, man. It's like a freaking genius. AI, man. But for you, you always talk about Think and Grow Rich. Why do you always keep promoting Think and Grow Rich? What does that make you always promote it?
Well, it's not. I don't even know if I always promote it. I just think when we're talking books, it's the book that put me in position to where I'm moving. This book and a couple others. So I read A Fire Next Time by James Baldwin, which literally was the spark of Readmore. It was the perspective because he's an African American. He talks about perspective and how different cultures, if we can finally connect with each other and understand each other's perspective, we can change the world. And when I heard that, I was like, people need to read more Baldwin. Like we have hats. Oh, here, perfect. This hat right here, like it says, read more Baldwin, read more James Baldwin, and that was like the key. And then I was talking to my brother and my other business partner. And before we even started, I was like, yo, we need to read more ball. We need to read more this. I was like, imagine if we had that on shirts, like read more Hill, like read more blank. So Think and Grow Rich is the book that like put me in position to start thinking more. I always had good ideas when I was a kid, but this is the game changer. If you can get this one simple tip, if you hear anything else I say, this is the thing you should hear. The moment like my life started changing was the when I changed the mindset from that's a good idea, I hope somebody does it, to that's a great idea, I'm going to do it. When you have that switch, when you have that, oh, that's a good idea and I can do it, when you have that switch, your life becomes more fun. It becomes more like a game. You're actually in the game instead of watching the game play,
Yeah, so many people, I agree with that. So many people are extras in the movie, like Bob Proctor always say. Um, what interesting was, what attracted me is that you interview these amazing people. What started the interview process of the authors? Because I see that you interview Lewis House and Patrick David and all these amazing authors. What make you want to? Is it because you're curious about what their thoughts are, or how? What is it? And even Evan Carmichael.
So the way we got into the interview series, I actually had a friend. She had just released a book, and I said, yo, I want to interview her. She's, she has connections. I want to see what she does. And when I got her, then I got the next person. Then I got a system where I goes like, oh, I know how to hit people up. And it's a crazy thing when you have a little bit of leverage. So like you're saying, we had to get 20 plus interviews before we got Patrick Bet-Davis. We had to get 30 plus interviews before we got Lewis Howes. But when you keep training those minds, you get all types of interviews. You work with the person with, 150 followers that are all engaged and love the fact. Like we just worked with a 12-year-old girl, and she's a motivational speaker. She just released her first book. And who knows, 5 years from now, she could be the biggest thing, in the world. And we had an interview with her. And now she's like, oh, you guys gave me a platform. I want to work with you. So it's all about not being the word bougie. They say it in rap. It's like, don't be bougie about who you interview, because of course you want to get the big people, but you got to build your catalog too. So interviews have just been a good way for me to pick people's brains that I may never ever talk to. I get a chance to talk to.
How do you develop your interviewing skills? What's your style? Because my style is a little bit different. Because I don't like mine. It's got to be fun for me. Because for people who do like professional stuff, I can't do professional. What's your style of interviewing? How do you?
I think you hit the nail on the head. You gotta have your own, free flowing style. Like you gotta come with questions. And you play it by ear. I think the more more relaxed you are with the interviewer, you can get more out of them, hear what they have to say. And one of the biggest things I like to do is have fan questions. I love, because sometimes I see that person from afar. I know I might have read some of their book, but I'm not as deeply invested in them as, say, a fan. But when I go down the fans page and I'm like, hey, we're doing an interview with this person, what have you been dying to ask them? You get some great questions as well, too. And then that you build on those as well.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you so much, man. For you, when we talk about we gotta start, right? Like many entrepreneurs, especially Gary Vee, he always big on getting started. What makes most people stop is they have a lot of fear. Do you have any fear, and how do you overcome it?
I think everybody has, some fears, some bigger than ever, and then some. The biggest thing, I think, I was watching a movie, Iron Man. He said, it was the second or third. I think it was the third one. He said we create our own demons. So a lot of times when we have these fears, it's demons that we've created. Maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it could have been a relationship that's made you have this new fear, or just situations that happen. But the biggest thing that I've realized is and Dale Carnegie said it in some book, you gotta use fear as fuel. So if you have fear, if you have that worry, if it's gonna be there anyways, you might as well go and attack it and see if you can knock it down. You might as well go hunt after it, because most of the times the things that we fear are just imaginations. They're figments of the mind. Fear is literally a state of mind, and if you can change that mind, if you can see in abundance for just a second, even if that means meditating. Like I definitely meditate. You have to some things you have to like just go out there and get in tune with yourself. Take breaks. I think when you travel, when you get out of the same, because a lot of times we get into habits of just living the same life over and over again. But if you go do something different, like just, I live in Colorado, so we have amazing mountains. If I just go if I travel, 45 miles up the way, I'm in a whole different environment. And when you get into new environments, you have new thinking. And then when you come back to your problems, you see them in a different light. Or your challenges. Let's not say problems. Your challenges.
That's very beautiful. I like that. I like that. But also, have you seen through the way that you try to get an interview with authors? Is it also more like, did you have challenge at the beginning? Because I did have challenge. Did you ever had like rejection at the beginning when you reach out to authors? And also, is it when you reach out to, is it more like a negotiating?
I've actually been pretty lucky. I've learned some ways, like you were talking about some psychology. So I've learned some ways how to attract authors without them thinking that it's just like pushing them over. One thing I like to say to authors is our followers are loving your book, because then now it creates a different frame for them. We have followers that want to hear from you instead of saying, yo, we want to interview you. Can you do this for us? Now it's like they're doing something for our followers. They're not really technically doing it for us, even though they're happy to do it with us. And then that creates a different perception for them. Now they think maybe, oh, I'm reaching out to 2,000 more people just from one interview. That's a little strategy, but I think we were really lucky with that. A lot of people that we reached out to, they're really excited about us and wanted to work with us, so it was cool.
Did you ever had like you never had a gatekeeper, right?
No, not really. I didn't have any gatekeepers. When you knock down one big interview, you can, if they ever get kind of bougie, I guess the word for it, they don't want to work with you, you just show them your catalog and say, these are the people we've worked with. And you got to realize you are the asset. You are the most important person. Like, don't come to them thinking they're better than you because they have 10,000 followers, 100,000 followers. They make this amount of money. When you come human to human to the person you're talking to, it changes the frame for sure.
I like that. I like that thinking, right? So many people, that's what my message has been for people, or the average person, or people in general. They think best-selling author or celebrities or whatever as gods. But I interviewed Jason David Frank, who was on Power Ranger. And, he had hard time and he was bullied. And that's my message for people, they're not gods. They have hard times just like everyone else. Too often we don't think about that. And what does success look like to you?
What does success look like for me?
Because the thing is, because basically, I was never surrounded by success. People think, when you're successful, you accumulate a lot of degrees or accolades or whatever. But some people are, the success is their family. What they're passionate about. What is yours?
For me, success look like to me is just being happy, bro. If I can say I'm happy at 50 and I was happy at 20 and I was happy at 30 and I'm happy today, that's success to me, bro. All the accolades are sure to come, bro. I realize when you love what you do, you love helping people out, and you go hard at what you do. But actually, not just this. Actually, I got this from a billionaire. I'm gonna digress for a quick second. He says, drink the milk, don't milk the cow. So many people are like working so hard milking the cow that they don't even see that the milk has been building up and they could just drink the milk. Like, so the idea is stack the odds in your favor for you to win instead of working so hard. These entrepreneurs are telling you to basically fall over and roll over 16-hour, 20-hour days. These dudes that's not productive movement. But that's what I would say. What success is always is happiness to me, bro. I don't care about all other stuff.
That's beautiful, dude. Yeah, I know. They always tell you about your hustle, but then there's I love she was co-founder, right? What was it, Erin Huffington for Huffington Post?
Yep.
I love her book. She's the one who I watch her video and where she tells her story. I mean, I'm not accurate with the story, but of course you probably heard the story where she hit her eye or something, and she was having less sleep so when she sleeps more, she will become more productive. That's what I'm getting more, man.
Yeah.
And for you, what would you leave the day? What would you leave your legacy? What would it look like?
My legacy would just be someone that I would want it to be someone that just went in on life, bro, that just kept going, kept pushing, did their best, helped other people, motivated people, made people laugh, and created something that's dope, man. I think the idea, like Readmore and all the stuff I do along, I just want to create things that are dope, bro, that help people move on and move forward. If I do that and I'm already doing that, I'll be happy, bro.
That's so cool. What I'm still staring at your what is that? It said change, but I can't.
Oh, that's an old school Obama change. And then we got some Readmore model photo shoots we did.
Okay. Oh, that's it. Okay. How do you set your goals?
How do I set my goals? Oh, okay.
Because basically,
I came from the school of Ty Lopez when it comes to setting goals. So he and Napoleon Hill, I mixed two of their goal settings together. So Ty always talks about health, wealth, love, and happiness. So at the beginning of each year, I'll write my health goals, my wealth goals, my love relationship or building with people goals, and then my happiness goals that like are more something I want to achieve at the end of the year. And I write those two things. So for me, for my health goals, I cut out chicken this year, and so I'm just on a pescatarian diet. And I think it was workout 3 times a week. So I've been working out the 3 to 5 times a week. That's a health goal. Wealth goal maybe building my business and whatever. You know, I don't always do incremental like numbers, like money wise, but if it's like I want to make 100K this year, that's another goal. And then I took how I took the Think and Grow Rich thing is he talks about there's always an exchange. It's like you got to give to receive, right? So what am I going to give up? What's my why? First of all, why do I want it? What's going to be the burning desire for me to get healthy? So my not eating chicken, my why was like I want to give up chicken because I want to see if it, makes me move faster, more mental clarity. I want to see if it was going to be more mental clarity. So that's one of my whys. And what will I give up is like fast food, not being true to my word. Maybe if I, some days where I'm like, oh, I don't feel like, and I grab the easiest meal. So it's all about what do you give up. Because when you figure out what you'll give up for it, then it'll be easier for you to focus on it.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome.
Mm.
Where can we find you online?
The biggest right now, I haven't been using my personal social media as much. So if you want to find us, it's Readmoreco on Instagram, Twitter, and our website is www.readmoreco.com as well. So that's where all our interviews are at.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Since we're in America, what do you think of about the massive shootings? Because that's really horrible.
You talking about the school shootings?
Yeah, the school shootings.
Oh, they're horrendous, man. They're terrible, bro. My fault. I got this. No, they're horrible at the end of the day, and I think that's why even Readmore has an opportunity to grow because now I know parents have to be thinking about alternative ways to still educate their kids. School's getting so people are getting shot up and it's tough. So I know I've talk to parents and they're thinking about different alternatives, and it comes down to all types of things like guns. How are we going to do it? And it also comes down to how are we looking and checking mental health? Like how are we keeping our society together? Are we uplifting people? Those are the small things every day. The more we uplift people, the more times we make people smile. That could be the difference between someone saying, this is my day to do something reckless and this is not my day to do something, So it's all about continuing that legacy as well, like actually uplifting people.
Where is this, like, why do you like, I can, because every time, because I can feel it from you. You really, like, authentically want to help people. Where does it, like, come from? Like,
I mean, I've never really thought about it. I guess I grew up in a family I grew up in a 2-parent household, actually, so I think that makes a big difference. Like the love you get from, you know, a father and a mother is a big difference. My parents have always been helpful. Like we always have multiple people stay with us. They used to call our house the foster home because people from, like, if their mom and dad were divorced or anything, they'd come stay with us for a while. So I think that and energy you just unconsciously pick up. It's osmosis learning.
Mm.
And then the school I went to, I actually went to it was a primary school. It was a British style school. So I didn't go to like a public school till high school. After high school, I went to public school. But I mean, in high school, I went to public school, and they did all types of things. We did we did, what's it called, Hanukkah. Like we actually did Hanukkah. We did Jane Elliott's experiment with the blue eye, brown eye. I don't know if you heard about that. The blue eye, brown eye, and it teaches you basically like the civil rights era where, you know, black people couldn't sit at the same restaurant, eat at the same tables and all that. So we practiced that even in elementary school. We did Chinese New Year. Like there was all types of things that we learned. Like we would study people's culture. So when you have that upbringing, you look at people different. You know, it's a different. You come to people with a different energy.
So basically, the school you went with, they combined the culture together.
Yeah, they just taught us, like we did like I said, we did Hanukkah, we did Kwanzaa. We practiced Kwanzaa one day, but it was not like we like practiced it. We just learned it. Like we studied it. We even observed it. We'd have people that were Jewish. They teach us the lessons behind the 7 candles. They had the story of David. All those things we learned. Like we just, even if it was like for a day during that time period. And when you do that, and we got to travel, we got to see the world, and it made it different, bro. Those small things, traveling, like I said, is big. Reading, those small things make a huge difference, bro.
Yes. And then for what was it? Are you flexible with your learning? Are you like either visual for video or audio books, or with the physical, or what?
Yeah, I am pretty flexible. I like to watch videos and I like to read. I think I like reading more than I watch videos, to be honest. I just enjoy reading because then I can understand it for myself. When I hear people do the video, they're pretty much telling you exactly what they want you to hear. When you read a book, you can think off a new tandem and it helps you understand it. But I like all of them, anything. I'm not a huge audiobook person, but as far as YouTube videos, I do watch a lot of YouTube videos.
Okay. What's it? The use. Oh yeah. Do you have any speed read? Do you have any tips for people who are not good at reading, or how can they improve their reading?
Actually, I just got Jim Quick's speed reading thing, so I haven't gone through it, but I'm definitely gonna check and see what he does as far as speed reading. I've never been like a big speed reader, but what I do is I look at a book. Let me see if I can find something. So like most books have table of contents in them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll look and see what books, and I'll kind of it's like mining for gold. Like so, this book, 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, is like you kind of go through the table of contents. You look at the stuff that you really want to read. You make sure you read those parts, and if it's not like a book that you want to read from start to finish, you skim through it. Now, if I want to read a book from start to finish, I just enjoy it. I don't care how long it kind of takes me to read it. I don't know. I don't care for speed reading. I'm more about comprehending it. But I think the more you read, just in general, the more you read, the faster you'll be able to read. Because I can go like this now and skim through books way quicker, just from reading them.
Holy crap! Yeah, I usually, because basically I'm a big fan of Brian Tracy. He gives you, well, just like you said, the table of content, and because usually I remember there was this book I attracted the book to me. It was called the Dynamic of Prosperity by Catherine Ponder, and I read the whole book to finish the end, but I can't remember it. So I'm into Ty Lopez too, and he gives a little bit tip, like too people. He said too many people get greedy. Just like you said, go for like gold mine, right? Pick out what you need to, and then put it into action. And that's so, like people don't do that. That's how I got most authors. because I read I combine Tim Ferriss, both the 48-hour work week because
Yeah.
people the celebrities are unreachable, and I combine Patrick and David together. You know, all the and Gary Vee. He's like, if they don't tweet back, who cares? Just keep going, and then put it together. So
Yeah, and another small thing I do is I always read three books at a time. So that's my
really,
thing. So I read because then you get more perspective from what you read. So I'll read something that now I'm reading more like business self kind of help, like not like how to run business, but I would like to read people's stories. So I like, of course, Shoe Dogs, like Phil Knight, all those type of books where they kind of break down how they built their business and all that. I love those type of books. Then I'll read like an alternative perspective book. So I'll read maybe Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. That gives me more perspective about people's culture. And then the last one is either, like I said, autobiography or just a straight kind of business self-help or just self-help. Like kind of those are like the three things I mess with.
God, man, you have like so many books that I don't even know. Like, what? Because I'm into like those spiritual type of things, but you have more like a business.
No, those spiritual books too. So I read Tao Te Ching, or you know that one. I've read this one. Yep, this one. This one I always read from.
Okay.
This one's really good. Of course, I've read The Tao of Leadership, 40 Steps with what's that? Howard Thurman. He's a spiritual guy too. So I do really. That's when I talk about the Get Fresh program we use. We do mind, body, soul, and heart. And the soul is all about meditating, reading those type of books that give you that spiritual grounding as well. So I'm right there. I definitely like spiritual books too.
You have like curiosity. You're like very not close-minded. You know, some people are very close-minded, but you're eclectic. You know, that's why I like Ty Lopez. He's like, you got to be eclectic, and you're very eclectic, dude. For those people who are wanting to be aspiring entrepreneur, how do you have any advice to navigate their business?
Oh, so before they're entrepreneurs, or have they started their business yet?
Both inspiring and entrepreneur, and yeah. So beginning and then navigate.
So I think if you haven't started a business yet, I would say definitely study people that have had businesses, see what made them successful, see what didn't make them successful, read, and then have a good idea. Have a great idea. Like the better the idea, the easier it is to work with. But with that being said, ideas are in abundance. Ideas come all the time, and don't be the best way. So this is what I do. I do kind of this dude Quentin Tarantino. When he comes up with a movie idea, he kind of pitches it to a lot of people. He wants to see what people's ideas about it. I think a lot of times when people want to start businesses, they think they have the best idea in the world, and they're so closed-mouthed about it that they don't get it out to enough people to see if people even want it. And that can be a big struggle in starting a business. So make sure when you start a business, unless it's the idea, unless you're doing artificial intelligence, but even with artificial intelligence and all that, most of the people you talk to have no clue how to even do artificial intelligence. So like your idea can be basically what I'm saying is pitch it to some people, see if they actually like it and get it out there. Now, if you have started a business, I would say just attack at it every single day. Knock at the tree. Social media is a good way to get out to people. And the thing that people don't understand about social media is that it's a sharing platform. I think a lot of times people don't win on social media because they don't understand the importance of if my channel has 5,000 people and yours has 6,000 people, we're talking to 1,000. We're talking to 1,100 people, and that's how you get your word out. It's those shares. You get people to talk about you, and that's how you build a small brand. And then as you get up there, you got to continue to invest in yourself, like you were saying earlier. The more you invest in yourself, the more your business will grow.
Yes, and you see where when you invest in yourself, you never thought that you could have become like this type of person. Right? I never thought.
No.
I never read these type of books. I would never like interview like yourself, amazing people or anyone. I'm telling you, man, like your life can change in when you're heading a different direction, right? What do you think about that?
Bro, you hit it on the head. I think you said it perfectly, bro. I have nothing else to say. You said, you know, when people say something, if you say it perfectly, I don't need to add any more, bro. You said it right, bro.
Okay. This guy is amazing. I love you. Just go. You guys just follow him. He done. He do incredible things. Subscribe to my channel, like my video, and I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, Readmore CO.